Canadian tenor David Pomeroy is internationally renowned for his rich voice with thrilling top notes and is enjoying a career in the spotlight on some of the world's most important opera stages and concert halls. This past weekend, the Centennial Concert Hall turned their lights on him as he sang the role of Pinkerton in Manitoba Opera's season-opening production of Puccini's Madama Butterfly. You've still got 2 more chances to catch him and the rest of the cast in this story of love and betrayal. David Pomeroy joins me here in the Diamond Lane on this Monday afternoon. Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon.
Well, thanks so much for making your way here to the studio. You've performed in Winnipeg before.
Yeah, many times. I really love coming to Winnipeg. The symphony is fantastic, and the opera company are just, they're so nice. The people here are just wonderful, and I always have a great time performing in Winnipeg.
It's always a pleasure seeing you perform. This time you're back around performing the role of Pinkerton in Madama Butterfly, and we'll get to the opera in greater detail. I just want to begin by asking, could you shed a little bit of light on why Puccini is as renowned as he is, such an enduring composer?
Well, he is the master of the Italian romantic verismo style of opera, so it's the most appealing. He took these great stories and worked with wonderful librettists, and was able to he had a natural talent for being able to write vocal lines, expressive vocal lines that made the voices bloom, and he wrote these melodies that are just incredibly beautiful and soaring. Mm-hmm. And he was able to. Puccini was a brilliant composer because he gave the artists, the singers, the performers, the way you're able to. He gives you these moments where you speak. Mm-hmm. It's like he has you speak a lot of stuff in the middle of the voice, and you're not really singing. Mm-hmm. And then when the drama goes high, full on, he gives you these humongous, soaring lines. So he was a real master at breaking up the drama, making it more relaxed for conversational stuff, and then full on, singing like a lion kind of thing.
It makes the opera approachable, too, right?
Absolutely.
That element of, like, it's not going to be someone singing in your face the whole time.
Well, it is that, but it's also just the music is so beautiful that we can all relate to it, and it's like pop culture. This was the stuff that was huge back in the day, and all of these melodies, all of Puccini's melodies, they're being used. They're being used everywhere today. I mean, it's gorgeous music, and you can make some of it like a pop song. Even some of these melodies you could just do with a guitar underneath, and you would have a gorgeous pop song. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know this next one's a little bit of a stretch, but before we get talking more about this particular opera, I want to talk a little bit about you. Puccini's
I'm
father.
good at that.
Yes, nice. Puccini's father was an organist. Your grandfather was an organist, and that's the connection I'm going to draw. What can you tell me about your early years, your relationship to music pre-opera?
Well, I grew up in Newfoundland, and my grandfather was a very renowned Newfoundland musician. He was the organist for the cathedral, the basilica in St. John's, and he was also the choir master. So and he had 11 choirs across the province. Wow. He founded the Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra. He was the man. He was the music man, and so he received the Order of Canada in '75. Yeah. I mean, he was a gentleman, a really wonderful guy. And when I was about 8 years old, that's when he took me in and started to teach me piano and singing. And my voice was a boy soprano. My voice hadn't changed. Yeah. So my uncles used to make fun of me because they said I was singing like a girl, and my grandfather would get very upset with them. But he would have me singing things like O Sole Mio, and Santa Lucia, these wonderful little Italian songs, as well as Ave Maria,
the classics,
and playing the piano and all of this. So I kept going with music, and I didn't know that I would be an opera singer. As a teenager, I played guitar and sang for a rock and roll band in high school, and then I had a folk duo. And it wasn't until I decided to go to university for music, not knowing exactly what I wanted to do. I knew that I loved to sing, but I went into the undergraduate program at Memorial, and I chose singing as a major. And one day in my second year, I listened to Pavarotti sing Nessun Dorma. And that changed my perspective on what I wanted to do with my life. And I sat for about, 45 minutes and maybe listened to that aria 10 or 11 times on repeat.
Yeah. It really is one of those arias. And the thing I was a reference about Nessun Dorma is we've all tried to sing it, right? I mean, I've definitely sang it once or twice in the shower, and thankfully no one really hears it there. Yeah. But we all find our niche, right? And that exploring of music.
And I was surrounded by great musicians, great teachers, people who were very supportive, and and who supported me and my talent and said, even that I came from a rock and roll background, I had my grandfather, I had the whole classical music thing as well, and an understanding of music. And my teachers just supported me and said, if you wanted to be an opera singer, you could do it. It just takes some years of study, but if you want to do it, you can. And I just decided to go full on with it, and it worked.
And I think audiences are very glad that you decided to do that.
I'm glad I did.
Oh, no kidding. So high accolades from around the world. You've performed in Europe, North America. You made your Met debut alongside Anna Netrebko. I mean, it's
that was
very,
amazing.
very exciting. I was on your website, and what I love there is you've got a tab, and it says, Guys I Know.
Yeah, we thought that was kind of just a cool way to open it up and be a little bit funny as well.
Yeah, it's like a personal connection.
Guys I used to know,
Yeah.
guys I know today, guys who I'm looking forward to meet. It's a cool. I've gotten a lot of comments about that little tab.
Yeah,
and
it's a personal connection.
yeah, and I also think that a lot of people don't talk about roles that they used to do. They're just talking about what they're doing now. And I like to say, well, I used to do these things. So if you're going to call me for them, don't, because they're in the past.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm doing now, and here's what I'm seeing in the future. So if you want to call me for things I'm doing now, or if you want to give me something that I'm looking forward to in the future, it's all there. It's very clear.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
You're showing people the direction you want to go and how you're changing as an artist.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the great things about being as an artist is that you get to change.
Yeah, and things can change on a dime.
So to get back to these guys, I love it because it's so personal, like your Facebook friends or something.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about your pal Pinkerton?
Well, I mean, Pinkerton is a wonderful character to play, and you get to sing some of the most glorious music that's ever been written. I mean, the Act 1 scene with Sharpless in the beginning, the tunes, the melodies, and the Butterfly duet, the love duet at the end of Act 1, his final aria, Addio, the one that's full of remorse because of the mistakes he's made. I mean, there's a lot that you can do, and there's a lot of acting that you can do as Pinkerton. I can't relate to him as an individual. I have nothing in common with this guy. So you have to just draw from being an actor. You just need to be a singing actor and go at it and just really pay attention to what Puccini wrote, what you're saying, and what the characters are saying to you. And I think, acting is listening, and acting is responding to what somebody has said to you. And that's sort of what motivates the things that you say. And every time you say it, you sort of have to feel like you're inventing it or saying it for the very first time.
Yeah.
So you just don't press a button and go, I'm just going to do this again because I did it last week and I've done it 75 times.
Yeah.
You're just constantly trying to reinvent so that it stays interesting for both you and for the audience.
Pinkerton isn't necessarily, like you said, the most relatable character. He's a little bit nefarious.
Well,
that way.
I mean, he's a cad, and it's people say, he's 19, he's young, and he made a mistake, and he's in love, falls in love with a geisha girl who's 15. They don't know any better, and probably that's true. But the fact is that what he says and his actions in Act 1, and he's making a joke of it all in the very beginning, right? Which is why people think, okay, this guy is arrogant and, he's a bit of a pig. Because he talks about, being infatuated. I don't know if it's infatuation, but something's got me going there with Butterfly. And, Sharpless is telling him, be careful now. I've seen this girl and I've seen how dedicated she is. And, and I sort of brush it all off and say, well, we're just here. This is a marriage that is sort of convenient for the next little while I'm stationed here. And I'm going to go back to America and find myself a real bride. Right. An American bride, not knowing that she gets pregnant and I leave for 3 years and find out that she's, had a child. Yeah. So
as someone who, you inhabit these characters, how did you go about prepping for this particular role?
Well, I knew the music from when I was younger because Butterfly it's Butterfly. And as a young opera singer, you just dream about singing these roles. So I sort of knew what it was. And I've had a wonderful mentor, Hermano Mauro, who took me under his wing. It was 22 years ago. And I've been working with him, and he's sung all of these Italian roles hundreds of times. And so the preparation just came from, firstly, Pinkerton to sing. Is very dramatic. It's just not for kids, Yeah. The Puccini's orchestra for Butterfly is one of his heaviest. It's a full orchestra, and when you're singing over a full orchestra of strings that are playing, and they're doubled you. So you have to be a spinto tenor, you have to be a dramatic tenor. So that's the first thing, is that you don't really start to sing Pinkerton until you're a little bit more mature and the voice is dropped and you're sort of be able to sing on with the real strength.
You've settled into yourself that way.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, in preparing the role, it didn't take me long to learn it, and I've done 75 performances of it, I think, by now, both in English and Italian. The first time I did it was in English in St. Louis, St. Louis used to do all English productions. I think now they're starting to turn to going back to the original.
I was going to ask, have you ever performed the original version of Butterfly?
Yes, this is what in St. Louis. It was very close to the original version in English, and well, you want to talk about Pinkerton being a cad? There's a lot of stuff in that. There's a lot of stuff, racial things, and
It does have its moments of controversy, certainly.
Yeah, and the original one even more.
Even more so. One of the things I always find interesting about Pinkerton as a character, and one of the reasons why I ask, how you prepared for it, this seems like a little bit of a strange question, but you didn't go about listening to Weezer, did you? There's their second album is entitled Pinkerton.
Oh, really?
Actually, and he's inspired by, the whole album's inspired by the cad that is Pinkerton.
Really?
And they draw parallels with that and the touring rock star, and how there are parallels between the two. Anyway, so
you can sort of understand. I mean, if you want to, think about the touring rock star and how they might act, especially as they're young, if they're famous and free and independent to go about and do it and act the way they want, certainly you can see a relation between that and that of the young Pinkerton who's,
perhaps of the same age. And I think to me that is a testament to the popularity of this opera, just how it has made its way into the pop culture in so many different facets.
Yeah, I agree.
You mentioned you've done this 75 times?
Probably
like
close.
that?
I haven't really added up the performances, but based on the number of productions, it could be more than that. I mean, I think I'm in the 70s of performances anyway,
That really is an incredible number.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, this particular production, the Manitoba Opera production directed by Rob Harriott, what's special about this one? Why should people come to the show?
Well, I think, firstly, we have a first-rate cast. Everybody is really special. I mean, not just because they're great singers, but they're great actors, and you can really feel the personalities of these people shine through in their singing. When I listen to a singer, when I watch a singer, I'm either really turned on to it, or it's just really doesn't make any difference to me, But all the people in this cast, they're so genuine, and you can really feel the heart in what they're saying and what they're singing, And we have a great Butterfly, Hiromi, and the fact that both her and Nina, and I mean, coming from a Japanese culture, she has a real understanding of what it was, just because it's her history. And when it comes to gestures and understanding of the way of life, I think we're offering a real experience here of what I think Puccini wanted to show in this opera.
How was the first performance received on Saturday?
Well, people loved it. They were screaming and they stood up at the end. They wouldn't let us go. We had a great curtain call, standing ovation. Yeah, I mean, I got booed, of course. They boo Pinkerton because you were just...
That means you were invested.
I mean, that's it. I'm, I'm the villain, and you got to... I mean, I love it. I tell them, I say, come on, give it to me. Just give me some more then. If you're going to boo, don't sit back and just do like, I don't want to offend this guy,
Yeah.
But it's, it's rewarding to get that because you did a good job, right?
Oh, I'm most certainly sure that you did, and the cast as well. And audiences have 2 more chances to go to the show. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., Friday at 7:30, taking place, of course, at the Centennial Concert Hall. David Pomeroy, thank you so much for joining me here in the Classic 107 studio this afternoon.
Pleasure.
Merd, break a leg, all that good stuff.
Thank you very much.
A renowned Canadian tenor, David Pomeroy, in Winnipeg, performing the role of Pinkerton in Puccini's Madama Butterfly. For more information, head to manitobaopera.mb.ca or classic107.com.